So are we supposed to start the podcast?
Patriots, Gaytriots, Theytriots, Blacktriots, and Browntriots. Pumps is not here to do her famous hawk/eagle/beaver fuck off. But Josh is subbing in for her while she is on a much-needed vacation with her children. So I want to welcome you to America's top DEI podcast. Minus, we are a beaver down. Josh, welcome to I've Had It. What have you had it with?
I have had it with my day-to-day tumultuous relationship with AI.
Oh, yeah. That's real with you.
I can't tell you the frustration, the angst that it brings me during the course of the day. I want to cut to the chase and get to certain points, and I find myself just fighting, struggling with AI every day. I think that AI and I fight more than you and I fight, actually. But as a boomer, I'm learning in this day and age that
You're
AI,
not a boomer.
I'm not?
No, you're Gen X.
Okay. I feel like a hashtag boomer sometimes, but okay, I'm Gen X.
I mean, when you wear those compression socks, you are giving boomer, but you're actually a Gen Xer.
Okay. I've got a little bit of PTSD about the compression socks, but I've learned that AI is here. It's real. And so I've got to embrace my love-hate relationship with it, but it's frustrating.
Well, it's interesting that that is your grievance because mine is directly linked to this. And it is I've had it with your relationship with AI. And listener, I want to tell you what we're dealing with here. So as you all know, I've gone on and on about Josh's hypochondria. And we have a situation where he likes to go to doctors and he thinks there's some bodily thing that's going on where he's dying. He goes to not just a doctor and the doctor eliminates it and says, you're actually really quite healthy. We have to go to 10 doctors. We have to do scans. We have to do tests. And this has been going on for several years. And now he has an additional doctor, which is called ChatGPT. And so I thought we were out of the woodwork on this thing. He's had these tension headaches, which all of you all know. It started with an ear, and then he got ear surgery. And then it's evolved into a lot of different things. So Josh came to visit me in New York. He comes a couple times a month, listener. Y'all know I've moved out there and Josh goes back and forth. And we schedule with my trainer like these duet sessions where Josh and I are working out together. You know, couples that work out together, stay together, something nauseating like that. So my trainer, Emily, says, hey, do you guys want to do your body fat? And I was like, oh, yeah, that'd be fun. We'll do it. And so she said, okay, we have time to do it tomorrow. So Josh and I go to the gym. We work out with her. And then we get on this machine and it does our body fat. And she does mine. She tells me what it is. And then she does Josh's. And Josh comes back with like a 4% body fat. And he is like dancing in the room. Like he feels like he is the specimen, all of these things. Fast forward 20 minutes later, and we're in an Uber, and he is in the throes with ChatGPT about his body fat. So he goes from celebrating to doing dramatic readings to me about what ChatGPT is saying about his body fat. Saying, if you or someone, this was a direct quote, because I'll never forget it. I remember we were on Park Avenue, and I was looking out the window, and he says, oh my God, listen to what ChatGPT says, Jennifer. If you or someone you love is suffering from 4% body fat, you should seek out, and then it lists a whole new group of professionals that Josh can go to, like a nutritionist, all of these things. And it also ties in the body fat to the tension headaches. And it's like, I don't know when we're going to be able to bury the hypochondria.
I went through 3 or 4 layers of the body fat being directly related to my tension headaches. And that's part of my grievance with ChatGPT is that I spent three or 4 hours diagnosing myself with these illnesses that then open other doors. And it's like this ongoing loop of insanity. 4% body fat is too low for me. So at one point I thought it was good, but then I realized that it was the cause or source of all these other things. And
these other things don't exist. That's what's so important, listener. The cause of all of these other things have all these other things have been eliminated, and not just by a doctor like looking at him and listening to him. I'm talking about like CAT scans, MRIs, dye injected contrasting X-ray type things that provide contrast. I mean, we have been given a clean bill of health, and then you get in this sycophantic relationship with ChatGPT, where obviously this is what I thought, and I didn't want to dive into it in the car, but if ChatGPT is saying, if you were somebody you love is suffering from, and you think that that would be like heroin addiction would be the next thing.
Right.
But that it said 4% body fat. I know that you fed that fucking thing a bunch of fear-mongering questions that then it provided this, that although you were suffering from some grave disease. And for the record, you guys, I think the body fat thing that we did, it didn't like pinch your fat. It was like you just stand on this scale thing. I think it's a racket. I don't think you have 4% body fat.
Let me just say the last neurologist I saw, it's been within 30 days, by the way. So I take my MRI and CT scan and all this stuff and give to her. And we spend about 15 or 20 minutes talking about my condition. And ultimately she looks at me and she says, there's nothing else I can talk to you about with this. There's nothing I can do. And I just looked at her and I was like, she said, that's it. You're okay. You're fine. I mean,
it's over.
I could prescribe some sort of SSRI maybe for you, but you don't need it. So there's nothing else to do. And so then I think I called you and I said, look, I think this is about over. I've had the neurologist say there's no other rabbit hole to go down. I've exhausted all of it.
And then
ChatGPT
is taken. Yeah, it's just a nightmare. All right, welcome to I've Had It. I'm Jennifer. Josh is subbing for Pumps. Kylie.
Yes. Hello. I have something for you guys. I want to do a little different than reviews.
Okay.
We're going to go over a tweet together that, as of the time of recording, has almost 2 million views on Twitter.
Okay.
Braden, hashtag Team RizGod, tweets, I found the perfect nominee for 2028. 1, an outsider. 2, not super old.
Love that.
And listener, this is a photo of Jennifer. 3, loved by progressives, loved by Facebook wine moms, Southern, hates Republicans even more than Newsom, dark woke, and can mog J.D. Vance. And then I've got 2 responses here from some commenters. Also add, she could redecorate the White House from its current tacky mess, despises those bankrolled by AIPAC, and then someone said, they got their reality TV star, we've got ours.
Wow. So when was this on Twitter? I haven't seen this.
It was a couple days ago from filming this.
Really? Here's the deal, listener. I would rather earn my money on my back than be a politician. I would just rather say, what do you want? Doggy, me on top, you on top, it's $500 a pop, 100, whatever it is. I love that. I mean, that's great. I do think you would make a great first lady, Josh.
I do too. I'm still trying to process the on your back or doggy, $500 a pop. But now that I've whipped past that, I would love to be a first lady. I would love to be a representative for all. I think it's a good idea. Was there a ticket associated with that? Is Jennifer on the bottom of that ticket, top of that ticket?
I've seen some different versions with Jennifer at the top, and then I've seen quite a few of like Newsom Jennifer.
There you have it. Although I don't know that I could stomach letting her be with Governor Newsom so long.
He's cute.
I know.
Yeah, he's pretty cute. He's pretty cute. That's wild. What does MOG mean?
I think it means you can like eat them up.
Oh, okay. Okay, MOG. I hadn't heard that before. I love that. What was it? Not super old?
Not super old.
Just kind of.
Yeah, kind of old.
Yeah, just getting up there. Not there yet.
If you ever have a moment, like sometimes like I went and played tennis yesterday and I thought, God, man, I feel like I'm 27. I felt like when I left the tennis court yesterday, because I ran down every ball. I didn't let one ball go. And I thought, I'm as fit as a fiddle.
That's right.
I feel like I'm 27 years old. And I wanted to say thank you to the poster of that put me right back square in reality. You're just not super old. You're old. You're just not super old.
You're perfect. Perfect for the ticket.
That's so nice. That is so nice. I think that I am better positioned holding politicians accountable than being in the White House. Although I would really like the plane perks because traveling has become insufferable because that goddamn Kristi Noem, she is the biggest grandstander showboater I've ever seen in my life. She has in TSA lines everywhere a video of her. Hi, this is Kristi Noem. I shot my puppy and my goat.
I don't want you to turn into a cash, though, if you got to be vice president or president where you're just taking these, unnecessary trips to Vegas and back and forth. We can't let you abuse the air.
Yeah. All right, Kylie, what else?
Okay, we've got some news stories today. The first one is from Salon, and it says, "Don't blame women for men's loneliness. Blame capitalism. There's a lot of money to be made off angry, isolated men." And it goes on to say the real story is the booming industry built on male isolation, where influencers, crypto grifters, pickup artists, and gambling apps have realized loneliness is an incredible profit opportunity. And OpenAI is moving in the same direction, pushing ChatGPT toward features that let the software act like a user's romantic interest, despite warnings that this could send users down mental health spirals and pull men even further out of the real world. It's an economy that thrives when men stay lonely.
Okay, that's interesting because I do feel like there's this, emergence of the male loneliness epidemic, and it seems to be being prioritized over everything else. And I do think that capitalism is to blame for a lot of this. And furthermore, in that, that men are using ChatGPT to be romantic partners, but you're really using ChatGPT to be a physician. And I think it's equally as dangerous, if not more so.
Well, just becoming somewhat dependent on it. But I think the core of that article, I've seen several bits of things like that talk about sort of the strength of a woman and how a man is somewhat reliant upon a woman in his relationships. You let a guy sort of veer off on his own and get out into the world free and clear of any guidance from a woman, and it's kind of a dangerous thing. Men we're a lot needier than women. We're less independent. We're somewhat dependent on women. And you don't see that until the man gets somewhat exposed. And there's this idea that men have to be strong and have to be the earner of the family and do all these things. And that belief system is somewhat archaic in today's society. It's not like that. And I think some men struggle with that. You're not at the top for the family, that maybe your spouse is more successful than you are. It's a reality for a lot of men.
And research has shown that marriage is disproportionately beneficial to a man than it is for a woman. A man's quality of life and stressors go down in a marriage. A woman's quality of life goes down and stressors go up in a marriage. And I love you, darling, but that has surely been the case in ours.
I'm sure.
I think that you've benefited more from the marriage than I have historically. And that doesn't mean I don't love you dearly.
Right.
But wouldn't you say it's a lopsided?
I would think so when you factor addiction and some other things into rehabs into the equation. I would dare to say. But I think in most marriages, like if you think of what women put up with over a period of time, 20, 30, 40 years, a man couldn't put up with half of what women have to put up with over the course of a marriage, with their responsibilities, which have historically been to sort of clean the house, cook, all these things. And now that's shifted, thank goodness, to where that's sort of outdated. But women, I don't think anybody would disagree. Women are sort of the backbone of any sort of good man that you see out there that has sort of risen above any sort of adversity. It's because he's had the benefit of a good, strong woman. Myself would be no exception.
That's so sweet.
There you have it.
All right, Kylie, what's next?
Okay, this one is scientists once taught monkeys how to use money, and they ended up buying prostitutes.
What?
And it says in a groundbreaking behavioral economics experiment, researchers at Yale University taught a group of capuchin monkeys how to use money to buy food. What began as a test of decision-making quickly spiraled into chaos when the monkeys started stealing coins, gambling, and even trading money for sex.
It all goes down to like sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I remember I had a humanities professor once in college, and he said, all of these archaeologists and humanities people, they go, anthropologists, and they go uncover all this stuff in ancient Egypt or, old ruins in Europe, and they think they're going to find some mystery fountain of youth that unlocks the purpose, and it's all sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Our species, and we share 99% DNA with monkeys, much to evangelical Christians' chagrin. And so it makes sense that it all boils down to this sex, drugs, and rock and roll thing. Tell the listener, when you went to rehab, AA meeting, and what that guy said when he came in.
So this would have been 2002. Let me sort of think about that quote. Well, there are two things that were said when I went to rehab. Number one, the guy said, "I've got really good news for you, Josh. Number one, it's you're not stupid, you're not crazy, but the bad news is that you have to quit acting like you're stupid and you're crazy." That was number one. I don't know if that's what you're referencing or not. Number two, I went to one of my very first AA meetings, and this guy had a 30-day chip, and he looked like he had just been fighting his entire life to stay sober for that period of time. And he stands up and he looks out amongst the crowd, and he's barely there. And he says, it's not all champagne and pussy, but I did it. And it's like, boom. Couldn't be said any better. It's not all champagne and pussy. Life is not all champagne and pussy. But he had his 30 days that he strung together. He was sober. And I thought, man, you can't say it any better than that.
That's great. All right. Kylie, anything else?
That's it. We've got our guest ready.
Okay. Now it's time for our guest. And this guest is actually a friend of mine and Josh's. We went to the U.S. Open together, and I feel like this is just a budding bromance between Josh and Kyle. So today's guest is the host of the Kyle Kulinski Show on the Secular Talk YouTube channel. He is a fierce MAGA slayer. He doesn't give a fuck. I love this guy. Welcome to I've Had It, Kyle Kulinski. All right, listener, I have a shortcut for all of you that are last minute gift buyers stressing about what you're going to buy for the person that has everything. We have got the perfect gift that is endlessly luxurious, useful every day, and white elephant worthy to win the office party. I want to introduce you to Tushy. Tushy is the bidet that you attach to your toilet. You're talking about a heated seat, clean the booty. It is a luxury, and it makes going to the restroom just feel so extravagant. Tushy is the everyday luxury bidet that instantly transforms your bathroom habits and bottom health for life. 99% of people who wash with Tushy feel cleaner and fresher after going to the bathroom. It's so easy to use. Sit, cleanse, and dry using the built-in air dryer. That's right. Cleaning yourself after using the bathroom is now hands-free. So listener, remember, a-hole is only a naughty word if you wipe. For a limited time, our listeners get 10% off their first bidet order when you use code HADIT at checkout. That's 10% off your first bidet order at hellotushy.com with the promo code HADIT. It's so stressful around the holidays dealing with money. You've got travel, gifts, hosting, entertainment, all sorts of financial commitments. And that's why I want to introduce you to Monarch. Monarch will help you organize your finances. Monarch is basically a wake-up call. It makes you stop and adjust your spending before the credit card bill arrives. Right now, I'm checking on my holiday spending category to make sure I don't start the new year with a debt hangover. And that's why Monarch is so incredibly helpful, because you can do recurring money check-ins to make sure you're being responsible, because let's face it, it's super easy to get over your skis financially. Basically, Monarch is built for people with very busy lives, and you never want to leave money on the table. And this is why Monarch is beloved by users and experts. Money can basically break couples up, but Monarch can actually bring couples together because so you can share in the fiscal responsibility all on one screen. It gives you access to your financial advisor and all sorts of other perks at no additional charge. Listener, don't let financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use code HADIT at monarch.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with the code HADIT. This episode of I've Had It is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit progressive.com to see if you can save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Companies and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states or situations. Hi, Kyle.
How you guys doing?
We're doing great. Kyle, it's kind of been a little bit more fun being progressive the last month or so. Like, I kind of feel like we're all getting our swag back a little bit. And you and I have something in common that we both just love to relentlessly and mercilessly mock these not even beta male, zeta male, whining titty baby MAGA men that shit the bed every single time somebody says something true about them.
Yeah, that's what I love about you is that you have a way of always getting under their skin, no matter how true the thing you say is. They can't help themselves. It's like a fly to a bug light. And so, yeah, I take some inspiration from that myself with all the memes that I post.
Don't you think that with me, they feel a sense of betrayal because I look like I should be one of them. I sound like I should be one of them. And so it really hurts when they hear a woman with a Southern accent, a certain socioeconomic bracket, and they think, wait a minute, we've lost her. And so they just really, like Fox News in particular, they are just, they start their news stories, the five they're called. They start off with, this podcast is so irrelevant, and we're the top story of their episode.
Well, they're going to keep saying stuff like that until you literally become president, which I don't know if you're aware of this, but this is something I've advocated for privately with Crystal, but also I have no problem saying it publicly whatsoever. I think the country is ready for a Jennifer Welch presidency because you're the only person that brings the heat like they bring the heat. Like you look at Trump and he's just totally unhinged in a negative way for him. And he just says wild stuff and just kind of gets away with it, but he can control the media narrative. You're like one of the only people that does that on our side where you can like set a whole discussion in order. And it's really an amazing thing to see. And the funny thing is they would hear me say that and go, oh, we would love to have an opponent like that. We would destroy Jennifer Welch. And it's like, no, you wouldn't, because you idiots said the same thing about Zoran. You thought like, oh, Zoran, we're going to destroy that guy. Cuomo will beat that guy. And it's like, actually, he dusted you because you have no idea what really sells and what doesn't. And like, that's what the country needs right now is like hardcore lefties who are going to really go to the mat.
Fuck you, lefties.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
That's the vibe for sure.
Josh talks about this a lot, how he just gets so mad when Democrats play integrity politics.
And I think that's been my biggest pet peeve. I don't delve into the political circles as much as you and Jennifer do, but when I do, it's like, why can't we stand for something? Why can't we recognize that we're playing in a different set of rules against a different opponent and improvise and quit placating? Quit being nice. Like I remember seeing someone was going to get a censorship or co-author a letter and send something to so-and-so after they had just decapitated us. And I'm thinking, what good is a letter going to be? What good is a censorship going to be? It's like we're not playing the same game.
Yeah, the obsession with decorum and civility politics used to be the entire Democratic brand.
That's right.
When they go low, we go high. And then what we learned is we're dealing with absolute psychopaths, and that doesn't work. If one side is cheating and we're not cheating, well, then what we're doing is laying in a chalk outline of ourselves on the ground and saying, okay, I guess you guys take it. But now we need to see a little bit of the opposite mentality, which Newsom has showed us a little bit, where he said, like, okay, if you guys gerrymander in Texas, we're going to counter gerrymander in California. And like they look at that and they go, "Oh my God, how dare you?" They literally are suing him to say, "You can't gerrymander, but we can gerrymander."
That's 100%
which is like,
right.
no. If you guys are going to cheat, we're going to cheat back because that ironically makes it more even. So I hope you're ready because you guys created this whole new movement on the left of, like you said, Jennifer, fuck you lefties is the best way of saying it.
How do we get our politicians how do we get that to resonate with some of our leaders to play that brand of politics now? Like, how do we do that?
I mean, it's a great question. I wish I had a better answer than this, but I just think they have to be forced into it by seeing the meteoric rise of like Jennifer Welch. They look at that and they go, oh, wait a second. This is what's selling. This is what people love. Look at all the legions of supporters that she has and all the people who watch her podcast and they hang on every word she says. And so they kind of have to be bullied into it in a way. And I think we're getting a little closer. We're getting a little closer to having some people who are in there that are fuck you lefties. But, I want to see more of it. I'm reminded of the video they just put out where they said Trump, what was it? Trump was talking about, oh shit, I'm blanking on it. It was, he went after Mark Kelly, he went after Alyssa Slotkin because they said, oh, you're doing these illegal orders. So if you're in the military, you can stand down from the illegal order. You don't have to follow an illegal order. And then Trump fired back and said, it's traitorous and you need to be put to death. And then I saw Alyssa Slotkin's response and she said, I'm not kidding about this. She was like, well, I'm not accusing any particular thing of being illegal. And it's like, no, don't do that because there are like 78 things that are illegal. And if you're going to represent us, you need to be able to list a bunch of those things. To be fair, Representative Jason Crow, he actually did list some of those things to his credit to say, no, I'm right. And here are the things that Trump did that were illegal. But that's sort of like going to the edge and then backing away from it that I saw Slotkin do. That really annoyed me because you put us in a worse position than if you said nothing at all.
Well, and Alyssa Slotkin voted for Kristi Noem. And so there is in order for where I feel we're positioned right now is we have Hakeem, who drives us all crazy, but he's who we have. We have Alyssa Slotkin. And so my thing is, we can't be super picky. Like if Alyssa Slotkin will say, I fucked up. I shouldn't have voted for Lil Marco. I shouldn't have voted for Kristi Noem. That was stupid. I was trying to play bipartisanship and I made a huge mistake. I'm not going to take AIPAC money anymore. I'm going to totally charge at these people. I'm going to take an economic populist message, and that includes everybody, even transgender people. And if you don't like it, tough titties, go be a racist over with MAGA. And I wish that the people we have would start moving that way. Like, we'll be forgiving if you just own your shit. Just own it. You're the politician we have. But the Alyssa Slotkins, where they show a little bit of a fight and then they placate to MAGA talking points, drives me crazy. That's as big of a red flag for me as taking AIPAC money, is placating to MAGA talking points.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm curious to ask you, do you think she's going to do that? Like, do you think she has that in her to be like, you know what, maybe I should have had a list of 6 things that Trump did that was illegal and not back down? Or do you think it's sort of in her political DNA that, she's a centrist, she's cut that cloth in the same way that Hakeem Jeffries can't fight his way out of a paper bag? Alyssa Slotkin, it's the same.
I don't even think these people are centrists. I think they're pick-me Democrats. They're what governs their whole decision-making process is, will people like me? Will I upset anyone? And in that process, if you try to get everybody to like you, nobody likes you and thinks you're worthless because you don't stand in anything. The reason people like me right now is because I stand for something and I fight for it. There's just as many people that hate me too, but at least you know where I stand. In these pick-me Democrats where they just go right down the center, there's no principle or conviction there. They're not understanding this moment. They're just trying to be popular, which is no different than what Trump is doing, leading with his fragile ego, trying to get everybody to like him. He's just not polite about it, and he's a prick about it. But centrist Democrats are just doing all of this stuff in a very polite manner, and it leaves the same dissatisfaction that MAGA politics do.
Yeah, to your point, I actually revel in the fact that a bunch of people hate me now. I like that. Me and Crystal were high-fiving when the New York Post wrote up that article coming after me for sharing that spicy Erica Kirk meme. And we were enjoying it because, you know what? I think you rally more people to your side when you become the enemy of the day among the absolute dead-eyed psychopaths. And maybe in the past, I would have felt like, no, I can reach out to them, I can appeal to them, I can get through to them, I just need the right argument at the right time. But now I feel like I've matured a little bit to the point where I understand that there's some percentage that are just, I call them TFGs, too far gones, that you're just not going to get through to them. And so, yeah, go ahead, attack me. If anything, that only makes us stronger when you do that. So in a sense, it's kind of what worked for Trump, if you think about it.
Totally.
Like, he would say things that would just rile up the left and liberals, and we would call it out. And then all of a sudden he would get more people that rally to his side on the right. And it was like this weird dynamic with attention where he knew how to direct the attention economy to ride his way into power. And now I think we're getting our swagger and we're doing the same thing.
But what he would do too is when he was called out on it, he would double down on it. He wouldn't shy away from it. Like some of the Democrats do, where they go about 80% of the way and then they get called out and then they kind of stop and pause and back up. He doubles, triples down on his position with full conviction.
He actually, do you remember in his deposition for, I think it's the E. Jean Carroll case, they ask him, the attorney says, you even said you could grab him by the pussy and when you're a star, they'll let you do it. And he's under oath and he goes, well, historically, that's true with stars. And this is like in a deposition, and Josh is 100% right. He just like, he triple and quadruples down, but it's the opposite of pick me politics. And I think that when you see Hakeem Jeffries, Chuckles, even Cory Booker, a lot of these centrist Dems, you just think this motherfucker doesn't believe in anything. They just are so thirsty for people to like them. And their milquetoast politics bizarrely comes off as the most boring form of thirst trapping that I've ever seen. Okay, Kyle, before we get too far into browbeating everybody that we need to browbeat, I need to ask you what you've had it with. What have you had it with?
So for me, the big one that's been pestering me for a long time is I've had it with people saying Trump is anti-war. I was losing my mind before the election when he would say it on the campaign trail and they would post those memes that say Trump is the pro-peace candidate. And I'm losing it now because you just look at what he's doing. He bombs fishing boats off the coast of Venezuela on like a daily basis. Some of those boats are from Trinidad and Tobago and Colombia. They're plotting regime change in Venezuela as we speak. He illegally bombed Yemen and Somalia and Iran. He's already threatened Greenland and Panama and Canada and Mexico. He said he wants to reinvade Afghanistan the other month. And this is all just stuff from the second term. Don't get me started on the first term where he increased drone strikes over 400% and illegally assassinated Qasem Soleimani, an Iranian commander who was fighting ISIS in the field. So and then he says I stopped 8 wars, and sometimes he ups it. He'll go anywhere from like 6 to 9 wars that he stops on a daily basis. And I'm not kidding when I say one day I was like, I know this is bullshit. Let me look into this. The actual answer is 0. He stopped 0 wars.
Yes.
He just shamelessly lies. So that's what sticks in my craw.
Oh my gosh. I agree. And I just think also, I heard Ro Khanna say the other day, and I thought this was such great messaging. He said the Democratic Party, first and foremost, needs to be clear-eyed and discuss that Joe Biden gave Benjamin Netanyahu a blank check. And it was so refreshing to hear it phrased that way. And Trump continues to give, out of all the other things you mentioned, he continues to give Benjamin Netanyahu a blank check. He has Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff, Dumb and Dumber. I think not as dumb as Eric and Don. I mean, those are for sure the Dumb and Dumber, but like Dumb and Dumber Jr. They are doing all of this colluding with Vladimir Putin and with Benjamin Netanyahu. And these people, like Jared Kushner doesn't have a security clearance. He said he wasn't having anything to do with this. And all of their actions are with very provocative, unethical, fascist governments. I mean, Benjamin Netanyahu's a total nationalist fascist. Vladimir Putin is a murderous, psychopathic dictator. And it's like, he wants this Nobel Peace Prize so bad, Trump, because Obama got it. And it's just amazing that he's found so many dipshits that just sit around and tell him, yeah, buddy, you should have gotten the prize. Yeah, you've solved 8-9 wars.
And by the way, these people are personally profiting off of these fake peace agreements that they're making. So Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, they're making millions of dollars with crypto. Jared Kushner got $2 billion from the government of Saudi Arabia. And by the way, Jamal Khashoggi was reporting on Jared Kushner giving MBS classified material when he was murdered. And so there's a lot of nasty stuff going on where they are personally insanely corrupt.
Yeah, this is where Trump says that those things happen in the interview the other day about the murder.
That's right. Apparently, there's a phone call too, by the way, that's supposed to come out soon of Trump in the wake of Khashoggi being murdered, where there's some damning phone call that comes out where he says, "Lord only knows what," because Jared Kushner may have been involved in this. Trump may have been involved in this because they're trying to protect MBS too because they have business dealings with him.
It would seem like one of the things with Trump, how do you sort of combat someone who lies so much? Like there's so many lies, so much disinformation that's put out every single day. You've just mentioned a few of the different news cycles of events. Like you could literally just go down a rabbit hole trying to combat these things over and over and over. I know that we saw Ty Cobb gave an interview the other day where he said our Constitution is not equipped for a person to defend against, like someone like President Trump. How do you respond to that? How do we respond to that?
So I think it's honestly shameless, ruthless, endless mockery at this point. There's like no other way to handle it. Right. When you're this far through the looking glass and when it's this absurd on a daily basis where every day you're dealing with like 12 impeachable new things that he does, like what is there to do but like point at it, laugh, mock him? I see no other way around it because certainly, the tut-tutting and finger wagging and we're holier than thou approach, that didn't work. You got to get in the mud with them and you got to expose them for what they are.
And I think here's something, and I want to run this by you all. I think we need to start a complete hit job on Fox News via memes and social media clips that brand people that watch Fox News as, dipshit morons, like really go at them. I'm talking basket of deplorable, low IQ rubes. And I think we could do a coordinated effort to just really, because this is the mothership of a lot of it, because Fox News viewers typically are voters. A lot of the people that listen to like, some of these hardcore like Alex Jones podcasts, these people are not regular voters. These people came out to vote for Trump, but these people are, like rapture preppers and, they've got a lot of other activities out in the woods that they've got going on. Another thing that I think we need to message, and I don't know why fucking Democrats don't do this, is the failures of Republican supermajorities in red states like Oklahoma, where Josh and I are sitting right now. We are ranked like 43rd, 46th out of all 50 states. Our governor is in the middle of his second term. Prior to him was this dipshit named Mary Fallin who had Republican majorities. And each year we go down and down and down. And I don't know why we are not, Gavin Newsom is doing it to an extent, but this should be a massive effort with Democrats reissuing a 50-state strategy and starting to really go in and changing the culture in red states, because the culture in red states right now is if you're a Democrat, you're a demon. And they literally believe in like spiritual warfare and all this shit. And the Democrats have got to go back into these red states to dull a lot of this propaganda that you have been fucking lied to since Ronald Reagan. And they used your faith to scare you and to weaponize against you. And it's just, we might lose 3 or 4 election cycles, but I think it has to happen. I mean, there's no Democratic infrastructure in a state like Oklahoma. None. They've just abandoned it. And people have gotten worse. And then I think it makes the Democratic Party look like we lose credibility. We only care about states where we can win a majority when you have to have a 50-state strategy.
And all 77, I'm sorry, Kyle, to interrupt you, all 77 counties here in Oklahoma went for Donald Trump. They're all Republican. So if anyone here, if you look around and you don't like your circumstances, you don't like the economy, you don't like your life, the Democrats have done a horrible job of messaging, then who do you blame for that? It's all of the elected Republicans in your hometown, on your city council, at the state level. They're all Republicans. How in the world do Democrats have anything to do with your demise or your situation? That's what we live with.
So Bernie floated the idea of running in red states as an independent, that the Democratic brand is so tarnished in deep red states that you may as well run as an independent and basically caucus with the Democrats and basically run on an unapologetically populist economic message. And honestly, that I think is a winning strategy. I think we got super close with that guy, Dan Osborne. He did that. To an extent, the success of Plattner in Maine, I think, is another good example of a similar thing, although he is running as a Democrat, to be fair. But, to your point, it should be easy to defeat these people because they are objectively harming people's lives on a daily basis. And then when you look at some of the blue states, like you look at what's happening with Tim Walz in Minnesota, for example, this is a guy who, with a 1-seat majority, he delivered universal free school breakfast for kids, universal free school lunch. He legalized weed. He did tax rebates for the working class. He did 12 weeks paid family leave and 12 weeks paid sick leave. He did free college for families that make under $80,000 a year. He did sectoral bargaining for nursing home workers, so their wages went up. So you put a Democrat in there, and it is just wall-to-wall wins, and then the approval rating skyrockets. So it's really one of those things where it's like you just got to get a toe in the door, and then all of a sudden things might change, and Democrats might actually have a shot.
All right. Here's one of the grievances you emailed with us beforehand, and I think this one is so hilarious. You said, I've had it with conservatives not understanding land doesn't vote.
Yes. I'm sure you've seen the meme before, but Republicans will do this seemingly every week. Somebody will post well, you're telling me Democrats almost won with a map like this? And you'll see a lot of red on the map and then dots of blue. And these people are genuinely dumb enough where they think what are you talking about? Republicans are way more popular. Look at this. Look at this. And it's no, land doesn't vote. The blue dots are where all of the fucking people live. Right? There's 17 people in this giant swath of red, and there's millions of people in the dot of blue. How do you not understand this? Population density is a very, very simple concept, but they genuinely and sincerely don't get it. And that to me is mind-boggling because it's I'm debating toddlers here. What am I doing? I'm wasting my time.
I think you've answered the question for how we got Trump second term.
And you're also debating toddlers based in Nigeria. Let's just go ahead.
Right.
A lot of the people that are posting this shit. Another thing you said you'd had it with are conservatives not understanding marginal tax rates.
My entire life, and I'm not kidding, I've been doing this full time since 2012. My entire life doing this. Not a single one has known what marginal tax rates are. Not a single one. A marginal tax rate is, if they say, we're going to do a 90% tax rate or a 70% tax rate, conservatives, their brain shuts down and they go, oh my God, the government's taking all of my money. No, that is for above a certain line. So if I make $6 million a year, let's say, right? The first $5 million is taxed at a lower rate. And for every dollar above that $5 million mark per year, that's taxed at 70% or 90% or whatever the line is. None of them seem to get it. And what's so crazy is if we had high marginal tax rates, we could fully fund the social safety net and their lives would objectively be better. You would have a fully funded, Medicaid system, Medicare system. You'd be able to have, food stamps fully funded, for example. And they're actively arguing against their well-being by not understanding what marginal tax rates are and opposing high marginal tax rates.
It's amazing to me. I remember when George W. Bush was running the second time. Josh had a criminal case somewhere out in rural Oklahoma because he's a criminal defense lawyer. And we were just so mad all the time. We fucking hated Dick Cheney. We hated George Bush. I look back on those problems now as kind of quaint. But he comes home and he's like, you're not going to fucking believe what I saw at the gas station. He said, I saw this woman. She had 10 kids in her car, no car seats. None of the kids had shoes on. Car was an old clunker. And it could barely even, start. And she had a Bush Cheney sticker on her car. And, this is something that is so dominated in rural America. Our son last year, he was a senior in high school and he played basketball in all these rural Oklahoma towns. And as you got closer to these towns, I remember we pulled up to the school and this guy gets out of this big truck, had Trump and militia type stickers on the back of it. I'm a big boy and I have my big boy gun and my big boy truck. And he gets out and his shirt said, Jesus strong, Trump tough. And I thought, I bet that hits so fucking hard out here. I bet that fucking hits so hard out here. And I think this is where if the Democrats, whether it's Bernie Sanders' idea of running independents, going into these places and saying what Josh said, if you don't like your life, you have no one to blame except for Republicans because they've been in charge of this state for 20 years. The last time we had a Democratic governor, his name was Brad Henry, we were ranked 17th in the nation in education, 17th. Since then, we are now dropped each year worse and worse and worse and worse. And now we're ranked 50th in the country. And we used to have a superintendent of school who, as a side hustle, sat in his car all the time, Ryan Walters, and filmed about his obsession with genitals and trans people. And it's wild how rural America, like they believe that land, votes, and they don't understand that they're being taxed at a higher rate than somebody like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk, who I want to remind everybody that's against immigration is a fucking immigrant. I just think it's really important that we remind everybody all the time that Elon Musk is a fucking immigrant that doesn't pay taxes, who is a parasite off the American taxpayer.
And go ahead, Kyle.
I was going to say, well, you're exactly right. And also the entire right-wing agenda, the whole point of it is tax cuts for the rich, right? Especially at the state level and at the federal level. And so what ends up happening is the working class gets a higher tax rate. The wealthy get a lower tax rate. You underfund education. You underfund all of the social services. Their lives get objectively worse. And it's all because Republicans have done this trick now for a generation where they talk about, we're going to cut taxes, we're going to cut taxes, we're going to cut taxes. And working class people might think, oh, they're talking about me. They want me to have my money in my pocket more. But that's not true. They're talking about people like Elon Musk. They're talking about, multimillionaires and billionaires. And that's the entire agenda. As soon as people wake up and realize the problem affecting your life in a negative way, it's not black people, it's not trans people, it's not immigrants, it's the billionaires and the fascists and the warmongers. As soon as they realize that, then we'll really, have our moment in the sun.
Don't you all think there has been a real shift, though, lately? Because I think the Trump administration has blown their wad really quickly. And the showboating and grandstanding of wealth in this administration is like nothing I have ever seen. The Marie Antoinette redo of old queen. I think he's just an old queen. Donald Trump, listening to Phantom of the Opera, redoing it at the Oval Office. He's building this ridiculous ballroom, which I'm so grateful that every donor wants to put their name in the ballroom, because I want those motherfuckers' name to go down forever as funders of fascism and people who refuse to defend the humanity and the rights of their fellow Americans. But the disgusting display of wealth by the Magnificent Seven, people that own all the AI, and Donald Trump taking the plane, $1 billion. I think it's kind of backfiring, and I think the soil is completely primed for a real fuck you rage economic populist takeover of the electorate.
And I think it's an opportunity for Democrats, as far as we have to remind ourselves so that day-to-day people they don't have time to go down 3 or 4 rabbit holes to get their information or their news. They get it quickly. And so we have to take advantage of a way to message. We're given these layups we're right on all the issues like we've talked about. But it's how do we message that in a way that reaches a lot of these people, whether it's in rural America or in bigger cities, because there's so much disinformation out there, and that's by design for us not to be able to give succinct pieces of factual information for people to rely and make judgments on. So there's so much out there.
I think you're right. And we're now fighting in that information environment. We're trying to give people the bite-sized factual information that keeps them fully informed, even though it's in a shorter amount of time. So we're fighting on that battlefield. But at the same time, Jennifer, to your point, yeah, I think the thing that actually woke a lot of Americans up, and the polling reflects this, is the Great Gatsby party that Trump had as he was freezing food stamps and freezing 94 million pounds of food aid from going to food banks. So that was one thing that woke him up. And the other thing is the wanton destruction of the East Wing illegally, casually, so he can build his Jeffrey Epstein Memorial Ballroom. And so that's the thing, because, Americans are going, holy shit, inflation is out of control. Yeah. My groceries cost way more than they did before. Yeah. I'm having a hard time paying the rent or paying the light bill or whatever it is. And they're looking at Trump and they're going, you're having a Great Gatsby party? You're having a Roaring 20s party? What happened after the Roaring 20s, you dipshit? It was the Great Depression. It was the Great Depression. Like, what are you celebrating? So I think that was really a moment. And we're getting closer. We're getting closer to that point. I mean, people have already soured on Trump's immigration agenda, but that was like his big sell during the election, where he polled well on immigration. But now we're getting to the point where he's underwater on that. And then again, our main thing, and every Democrat needs to hammer this narrative home, is the problem is the billionaires. They're the problem. Repeat that over and over and over until people realize they're the reason your life sucks.
They're the parasites. I mean, these are the people who are parasitic, the loopholes. And when you think about the benefit that Walmart gets from us subsidizing their inability and their lack of morals and principle and decency to pay their workers a livable wage. And we subsidize it when we give them food stamps, Medicare, Medicaid. But also Jeff Bezos' use of infrastructure to support Amazon, he should be paying a massive infrastructure tax. His trucks are all over the place, beating down streets and roads, and he is basically fights people that want to unionize, and he pays a shit ton of money to Donald Trump so that he doesn't have to pay taxes.
Yeah, and think of Elon Musk. He has taken tens of billions of dollars from the federal government, and what's he doing? He's cutting pediatric cancer research and Meals on Wheels. I mean, think about the optics of that. The world's richest man, who just got $1 trillion pay package, by the way. He's going to be the world's first trillionaire. That guy is cutting pediatric cancer research and Meals on Wheels as he's taking like $30+ billion from U.S. taxpayers. So his rockets explode 48 times. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing?
It's unbelievable. And another thing we were talking about earlier that I wanted to ask you about, Kyle, is do you think that the government's sort of acquiescence on this shutdown, the 7 or 8 Democrats that voted in favor, you think that was a missed opportunity again, where the Democrats were on a winning position and about 70 or 80% there with it, and it was at a point in time when Trump's numbers were tanking? You know, the Republicans controlled everything. The Epstein files were an issue. All of that was sort of because I remember reading that, not in the day-to-day, and just being really pissed off, being mad.
Well, 100%. They absolutely messed up. Because either the Republicans would have had to fold at some point, or if they didn't fold, what they would have done is nuked the filibuster. But that's good. I'm okay with them doing that because they're only going to get a small window where they can get anything through, even with nuking the filibuster. And then when we get power back, we can actually make a real change with no filibuster anymore. Right. And so they really messed up this opportunity. And I got to be honest, I actually think they probably would have folded to one extent or another. They would have offered at least a year or so of the Obamacare subsidies extended, but they would have wanted to do it like, let's call it a different name, or let's like relabel it, and let's, call it Trump subsidies or something like that. And then they would have been fine with it. So we were right there. And of course, Chuck Schumer rushed in to bail out the Republicans like he always does. And that's the problem, right? Is we just had a mandate in that election. Like, people want you to fight. They voted for a Democrat who was like joking about murdering his political opponent. You think they want you to go in there and like immediately cave to these people? That's psychotic. They want you to get to go to town against them.
And it was just like, and then why did we do it? We have all of this momentum, these elections. We had, all the poll numbers, all this stuff. And then you read that and you just think, now, why am I a part of this party? Why are we doing this? And you just want to bash my head against a wall.
Totally. It's a ghost ship, and we got to board that ghost ship and take control of it. That's the bottom line. And I think in due time, it's already happening. There are people who are now fans of the I've Had It podcast and fans of my show and fans of Breaking Points. Like, these are people who are going to be in Congress now and going to be in the Senate now. And like, okay, now we're talking. Now we have, a group of people who are really about the fight.
All right, listener, fall is here and the kids are back in school, vacations are over, and it's time to start the cozy part of the season. And I want to introduce you to Bombas. And I mean this. I have a pair on my feet right now. They are the most comfortable socks on the planet. They also have slippers, tees, and underwear. You cannot go wrong with Bombas.
I love my Sherpa lined Sunday slippers. They're packing friendly. They're fantastic and cozy. I love them.
And the best part, listener, for every item you buy, Bombas donates one to someone experiencing homelessness. Over 150 million items have been donated thanks to customers. And with their happiness guarantee, if you're not 100% into what you got, they'll make it right. No risk, all reward. So listener, head over to bombas.com/hadit and use code HADIT for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com/hadit. Code HADIT at checkout. This ad is brought to you by Vive Healthcare, the makers of Apertude, Cabotegravir.
You never skip your SPF, and you carry hand sanitizer like an accessory, but What are you doing for HIV prevention? One way to help protect yourself from HIV is Apretude, a prescription medicine used to reduce the risk of getting HIV in adults and adolescents weighing at least 77 pounds.
You must be HIV negative to receive Apretude and get tested before each injection. If you think you were exposed to HIV or have flu-like symptoms, tell your doctor right away. More HIV testing may be needed. Apretude does not prevent other sexually transmitted infections. Practice safer sex to reduce your risk. Get Apretude as scheduled. Missing doses increases your HIV risk. Don't take Apretude if allergic to it or taking certain medicines that may interact. Tell your doctor about your medical conditions, liver problems, and mental health. Serious side effects include allergic reactions or rash, liver problems, and depression. If these occur, get medical help right away. The most common side effect is injection site reaction. Bring your A game and talk to your doctor. Learn more at apretude.com or call 1-888-240-0340. With the holidays upon us and the new year approaching, a lot of people like to give their home a little makeover. And that's why I want to introduce you to Article. Article has curated collections for every style, mid-century modern, coastal, Scandi-inspired pieces that not only shine on their own, but also pair seamlessly with nearly any other Article product. We got some Article chairs for the recording studio. They are comfortable, easy to order, easy delivery service from start to finish. They make furniture shopping so easy. And most importantly, all of the pieces are so chic. And if that isn't enough, they offer a 30-day satisfaction guarantee. With Article's 30-day satisfaction guarantee, you can shop with confidence, knowing that if you're not completely in love with your new furniture, you can easily return it. This peace of mind ensures you can invest in your home without any hesitation whatsoever. So listener, Article is offering our listeners $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. To claim, visit article.com/hadit, and the discount will be automatically applied at checkout. Again, that's article.com/hadit for $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. All right, Kyle, let's play our world famous game, Had It or Hit It. Oh my God. Welcome to Had It or Hit It. I would hit it. Had it. Had it. I hit it every day, sometimes twice a day. All right, Had It or Hit It, Zionism.
Oh my God. I've absolutely had it with Zionism. It's the one version of an ethno-state that everybody has to say they support. I mean, that's insane to me. Any other version of an ethno-state, everybody's like, well, hold on. An ethno-state by definition is against democracy and against secularism. But we have one example where you go, well, this one gets a special exemption. No, it doesn't. We see what happens when you have a state based on that. What happens? You have genocide in Gaza. You have now the West Bank is being taken over. You have Israel trying to create greater Israel because they believe in an ethnic hierarchy and supremacy where they're above everybody else. Well, this is the end result of that. So everybody should just stand in principle against all ethno-states.
Yeah. So I, like you said, I, in principle, as an atheist, somebody who thinks religion has screwed up so much of everything, I was against Zionism. But my opposition to Zionism has accelerated like you wouldn't believe after hearing Zionists speak. One in particular, former Obama speechwriter, Sarah Hurwitz, I believe her name is. And I've watched her speak in 3 different places now. And this woman, it's a level of brainwash cult psychosis in which she speaks that is so jarring. It's almost worse. Living in the Bible Belt, you hear a bunch of evangelicals say a bunch of crazy shit about spiritual warfare. What she's saying is almost worse. Like, I think it is worse because she's saying, when she talks about the wall of dead children, she acts like you just need to ignore that so we can continue to move forward with whatever their ethnic cleansing plan is. And it's just disturbing to see these people on a stage, and it's produced and they're sitting in chairs and they look very civilized, discussing this carnage and being so dismissive of it. And it's made me be like the biggest opposer of Zionism on the planet. Like, the more Zionists speak, the more I fucking hate them. I think they're absolute monsters.
Totally. Totally. And that same woman said she's turning on Holocaust education because Holocaust education is making people see Palestinians with more humanity and realize that when we say never again, we should mean never again for everybody. She says the younger generation has been poisoned by that mindset. What we need to realize, according to her, is that the Holocaust education should be about teaching that Jews are special victims. So they have special victim status. And like when we say never again, we actually mean just for us. That's what she means when she says that. And she's on stage saying this.
How condescending to tell younger Jews, which I've had a conversation with many since I moved to New York. And there's a definite generational divide where the older Jewish people tend to be more Zionist. They were more radically indoctrinated into thinking this under the, dark cloud of the Holocaust. And they valued Israel as directly linked to Jewish safety and to opposing anti-Semitism. The younger generation, less indoctrinated, more critically thinking, I think it's very condescending to tell them they can't care about this genocide and they can't care about Palestinians. And I further think that these Zionists that are alleged liberals or Democrats or former Obama aides have to atone or explain to us how they have allowed this bullshit argument that the Trump administration is using, which is anti-Semitism on college campuses, to go and then do a complete shakedown of these universities and then start censoring speech. And the more you censor speech, the more you're incubating anti-Semitism, racism, all of the stuff. And they need to explain this because it seems to me like these people are just walking, talking contradictions, hypocrites, sociopaths of the highest order.
Yeah, how quickly they threw out all the concern about free speech when it came to this one issue, right? We heard nonstop for years about, free speech is the most important thing. Stop telling comedians what they can and cannot say. The second it was free speech to criticize Israel, all of a sudden, that's anti-Semitic. We got to shut it down. It's over. And so, yeah, they've just been exposed as colossal hypocrites. But I think that the public has come around to our position, and it's only a matter of time until Democrats do. I mean, you've done a great job of this, Jennifer, where you've now made it basically a litmus test that if you're a Democrat and you're taking AIPAC money, you're not really a Democrat. You're Diet MAGA,
That's right.
And so they're going to have to wake up or be left in the dustbin of history.
I completely agree. And I think it's very, the whole Zionism Israel conversation becomes so consuming and it gets prioritized in such a high regard that it leaves a lot of other marginalized human rights groups that we need to advocate for, like anti-Black racism and the anti-immigrant sentiment, which has actual actions that are parallel exactly with Nazi Germany, where you see American citizens or brown-skinned immigrants in this country kidnapped by Trump's Gestapo, with the puppy goat killer Kristi Noem leading the charge when she can fit it in between photo shoots. And the fact that I don't hear the Sarah Hurwitz of the world prioritizing what's happening to those people in this country right now the most. And she's putting her own personal desires for Israel over everything else, to me, tells me she doesn't really value human rights. She values human rights the same way Marjorie Taylor Greene does, which is they cherry pick which ones are important. I mean, and I wish somebody would get Marjorie Taylor Greene in front of them and just say, hey, who won the 2020 election? Hey, what do you think about gay marriage? Because then her rebranding tour is going to start unraveling.
What's interesting about her too is that she decides to resign after 1 week of catching shit from MAGA, and you and Kyle have been doing this forever in the trenches, taking all the MAGA heads, and it's like, really, you get 1 week of it and you're out? We have to fight this shit every single day. So
that's right.
Yeah.
Do you think she's going to run? Do you guys think she's going to run for president in 2028?
100%.
Yeah.
It's going to be Tucker Carlson at the top of the ticket. Marjorie Taylor Greene at the bottom. Marjorie Taylor Greene is rolling out exactly Trump's plan that he did in 2015 into 2016. She's starting to attack Republicans. That's exactly what Trump did. Little Marco, low energy Jeb. She's doing all of that, but she's also combining it with an economic populist message. She is a total anti-Semite. She is a total Jew hater. She doesn't give a shit about linking anti-Black racism, transphobia to anti-Semitism to Islamophobia. She's all down with some forms of racism, but she knows that the America First agenda has an Israel problem on both sides, and she's going to message it as such. And I think she's going to run along with Tucker. And I think they're both already, they see that Trump completely ruined the Republican Party. But I think you're going to see people like Nikki Haley. She's going to be rebirthed and be like, I want to bring back compassionate conservatism and get back to Ronald Reagan.
Ted Cruz, we know he's going to run.
Yeah.
Ted Cruz. Okay, here's the thing. Everybody fucking hates Ted Cruz. Like his neighbors hate him. They were leaking to the press when he went to Cancun. His fucking neighbors were anonymous sources in this story in the paper that he is such a piece of shit. I mean, I'm excited for Ted Cruz to run again because I think he's great content.
The Cancun video is just too good. He's wearing like these outdated dad jeans, in the video, and he's got like some, beach shirt on, and God, it was just so great. Fantastic.
And he's leaning into supporting Israel too. That's his thing, is he's saying, I represent old school conservatism like George W. Bush style or Ronald Reagan style. Right. And I don't think that's going to land, especially because young conservatives are about 50% against Israel. And so that's not the future of the party. All the Israel supporters are like 80 years old on the right, Here's
the thing, too. Marjorie Taylor Greene is outflanking the Democrats right now because Hakeem and Chuckles take so much AIPAC money, and they haven't completely evolved out of it yet. But when you live in a red county-ish, we're from a red state. When she says very simply, and so imagine you're on your Instagram and you see cat, and then you see, some funny meme, and then you see Marjorie Taylor Greene, and she says, we have sent Israel billions of dollars, and we also then thus subsidize their health care. They don't go into medical debt. And we also pay for their kids to go to college, and they don't have to go into medical debt, and we pay for that. That hits fucking hard in flyover states. That shit hits so fucking hard, and it's a very simple message. Now, the Democrats would try to go in and explain why Marjorie Taylor Greene is wrong, and they'd give all these nuanced answers. She's really an anti-Semite. When Democrats should make the exact same message, that we cannot fund a fascist regime to kill a bunch of kids, and then they do have a lot of these benefits that we don't have. And I don't just besmirch anybody for having health care. I want all citizens of all of the world to have such a thing. But she's outflanking the Democrats on that stuff, and I hope that they catch up.
You could just say America first, not Israel first. I mean, that's what
she says.
Start. Yeah,
she has it on her door at Congress. Yeah.
Okay, well, that makes sense because I think that's a pretty clean, clear message.
Yeah, I think the Democrats are waking up to some of that stuff. I saw a bunch of attacking Trump over giving $40 billion to Argentina while he's freezing the food stamp money and starving people. And that same line of argument applies across the board when it comes to Israel as well, giving them billions of dollars as they massacre innocent Palestinians. I think there's something there. And I think that the main message has to be, it's the billionaires, it's the fascists, it's the warmongers. They are the problem, and we need to defeat them in order for you to have a better life. It's got nothing to do with trans people are not the problem, black people are not the problem, immigrants are not the problem, et cetera, et cetera.
And
They're
Jewish
the real
people
problem.
are not the problem. I mean, I think that provides cover from a political strategy point that, a lot of Democrats are fearful of Jewish voters because there is a generational divide, and they are typically big donors to their campaigns. And I think it's important that Zoran did it really well, and he won, but he linked anti-Semitism to Islamophobia to all of the other things,
right.
And then and factored it in with affordability. Like, our affordability plan is for everybody. That includes Jewish people, that includes Muslim Americans, that includes, whatever type of American you are. If you're a trans American, then our affordability plan works for you. And if you don't like that, MAGA tough titties, go stick with the billionaires. See how much they like you.
And he made clear we're pro-Jew and anti-Zionist.
Exactly.
Right? That's our stance, is we love Jewish people, but we're against Zionism. And that lands. People understand that distinction.
Yeah. Okay, moving along. Had it or hit it, MAGA bot farms.
Oh, MAGA bot farms. I've obviously, actually, you know what? I'm going to surprise you. I hit it because it's hilarious.
I thought you
it's
might say
hilarious.
that.
It's too easy now. You go, anybody says anything from one of these big MAGA accounts, and it's like, okay, but you're in Pakistan right now. Okay. You're in the basement in Nigeria. Like, who are we kidding? I actually sort of love it because it just exposes. The sad part of it is we were psyoped into fascism in this country because everybody was under the impression that this wave of pro-MAGA stuff online, that to one extent or another, there's like a sincere core there, but there's really not. It was basically like this massive psyop. You trick the entire country into thinking. It was basically like fake it till you make it. Like, oh, look, there's so much MAGA stuff. And then people were like, I guess I'm on board with the MAGA stuff. And it's like, really? This is where we're at now, where we get like, dragged around by the tail from people in fucking India messing with us to make some money. It's kind of crazy if you think about it.
Yeah, it's kind of perfect too, really. I mean, in our culture, that the MAGA policy is being dictated or governed by these people in Nigeria.
And all their
Pakistan.
MAGA merch is made in China.
Yeah, and all the flags on the profiles and their banners, it's like the American flag everywhere. It's almost just kind of perfect, really, when you think about it.
People are doing like Fuentes Nazi accounts and they're in India. And what is this?
Okay, had it or hit it, RFK Jr.'s poetry.
Oh my God. I'm going to surprise you again. I hit it because it's hilarious. It is gross. I don't know if you guys saw that piece from Ryan Lizza.
Yeah.
Ryan Lizza explained that he found text messages between RFK and his ex-fiancée, Olivia Nuzzi, where he learned, unfortunately, he had to learn what the term felching meant. So felching, I don't know how dark I can go on this show here. You tell me if I got the green light here. But
go for it.
Felching is when you come inside a pussy or an asshole, and then you eat out your own cum from said pussy or asshole. And RFK was talking about this to Olivia Nuzzi. And by the way, they claim, we only had a texting relationship. I call bullshit on that immediately because you don't go from zero to felching in fucking texts, right? Like, there's got to be some real life stuff in between. Am I wrong?
So RFK is texting about this felching with this woman?
Yes. And you know what's hilarious? I saw somebody had this tweet. I thought it was hilarious. They said, RFK wants to ban you from having red M&Ms, but he'll eat cum out of an asshole.
How can he say anything after that? Like, you need to just not be able to say anything. That's amazing. The one thing I learned from that story was the fact that Mark Sanford is still alive.
Yes.
I didn't know that fucking guy was still around. I mean, the last I knew, he had taken off to the mountains or something, and he's still with us.
That guy disappeared. He was the story for like a week or two. Everybody was talking about it. He disappeared in the Appalachian Mountains, and now he's back. Who knew?
He's got to be 80.
Olivia Nuzzi, by the way, I don't know if there's somebody in politics that she hasn't slept with. Apparently, she was with Keith Olbermann, too. When Keith was 50, she was 18 years old at Keith. Man, that's a bad look, bro. I don't know what you're doing there.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing about this story is obviously nobody cares how many people Olivia Nuzzi sleeps with. It's sleeping with like sources, the journalists crossing that line. That's where the integrity issue is. And she seemed to do that time and time again.
It's just sprinkled in with all of these little tidbits of juice. With Felching, Mark Sanford being around somewhere, like in some thread that the husband, finds out about. He's reading. I didn't even know that guy was still alive, honestly.
She also, by the way, made a song when she was 16 years old, and it's called Jailbait. And she sings about how she's jailbait because she's such a fuckable 16-year-old. It's crazy. It is crazy. And now I think Vanity Fair had hired her, and now they're looking into whether or not they're going to keep her or let her go. Because Ryan Lizza, he's got a lot more in the chamber, too. He said, look, felching is just part one. I got more for you. You guys better buckle up.
Because she's really attractive. I mean, I've seen pictures. I've never seen her in person. I've seen pictures of her. She's gorgeous. Okay. I'm gonna list your had it or hit it, and then I'm going to put a question attached to it. It's had it or hit it, Hakeem Jeffries. And then after you answer that, I want you to address the following. Zoran and AOC have signaled that they don't want him primaried. So answer both of those.
Yeah, I've had it with all of that. I mean, it's just, to me, it's terrible. He doesn't know how to fight. He's diet MAGA. He's bought by corporations and by AIPAC. For Zoran and AOC, I get what they're trying to do. What they're saying is, hey, we're in here now. We're trying to make a positive change. In order to do that, we need to have allies on the more centrist side, so let us cook. That's basically their argument. But I don't buy it because Zoran is mayor of New York City. He doesn't have to work through Hakeem Jeffries. AOC is only going to be in Congress not that much longer because he's either going to run for Senate or run for president. You don't need this man. So to me, it seems like overkill. If Zoran had said, look, I'm not going to go after Kathy Hochul because I have to work through her, I get that because it's true. She might be the one you have to get your agenda through. I get that. But this is not Kathy Hochul. This is Hakeem Jeffries, who's like, just like Chuck Schumer in how ineffectual he is in fighting back against MAGA. And so I just want them to tell me, give me a good reason why you're doing this. Tell me what it is. Is there some fundraising mechanism that I don't understand that has to go through them and they can quash your agenda like that with the push of a button? Let me know, because otherwise what people are going to start saying is, really, did you sell out this quickly? Did you like go soft this quickly? And I don't want people thinking that, because these are the best that we have at the moment. And they're allies to an extent. And so we need to be fully kept in the loop here. And I don't feel like we are being kept in the loop.
I agree with that. And because I feel like with Hakeem, there are moments where I'm like, okay, all right. And then there's a lot of moments where I'm like, Hakeem, what the fuck? Like, he needs to hire a really good social media manager. Whoever's doing it right now is not great. And he needs to, I think, come on more podcasts. He's been on ours before, but I wasn't as attuned to the AIPAC stuff at the time. I think I asked him about it, but I didn't really get in that ass like I should have. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to have him come back on. We can ask him to come back on. But here's where I stand with this. We have the politicians that we have. And if we have Hakeem and it's clear that he's going to win, even if he gets primaried, which I think all of these centrist Democrats should be primaried to either make them tougher and a little bit further to the left and iron out some of the kinks, or the primary wins. I think all of these people should be primaried. I agree with David Hogg on that. But Hakeem, there's just something, it's the pick me situation that bugs me. It's like, oh, pick me. You know, he has a lot of word salad, platitude answers that really drive me fucking crazy. And if I hear the words strongly worded letter from anybody, from any person, like I think that should be as disqualifying as AIPAC. If you say that you're going to fight Donald Trump and his dipshit squad with a strongly worded letter, I'm just going to lose my fucking mind.
It's so true. It's so true. And the thing, like, what are you doing this for? That's the thing to me, is like, I need to be able to feel why you're doing this, why you're a politician, why you care. And look, for virtually everybody on the right, you get the sense, oh, these are genuinely hateful motherfuckers. Like, they fucking hate liberals, they hate trans people, they hate immigrants. They have a real driving force of like, fuck you, we're going to make this a Christian nation, a white nation.
Yeah.
Like, they're about that life. Whereas on the Democratic side, to your point, you do get the pick-me sense. You get we're the teacher's pet who are like, I'm trying to be a careerist and climb the ladder and get my name up there. It's like, that's not enough. I need to feel like you're in this for universal health care and free college and a living wage and ending the wars and ending the corruption. Like, I need to feel it in my bones that you're about that life and you want to take the fight to the billionaires and the fascists and the warmongers. And unfortunately, there's just not that many where you really get that sense that like that revolutionary spirit is sort of flowing through them. Where
you have that level of conviction, but you also don't care what other people think. Right. That's the second part of that, is that you're going to take a stance and you don't care if it's unpopular to a certain extent, if you think it's right. That's the part that's missing.
And that's attractive.
Yeah.
That's so attractive too.
AOC answered this. There was the town hall before the elections with she and Bernie Sanders. And they asked her about MAGA people disliking her. And she said, they can dislike me all they want, but I'm still going to fight for them to have health care. And that was a really, really, really good answer. It was something that I think could penetrate these people. Totally. And just to say, look, I disagree with you. Your votes make me sick. They make me want to vomit, actually. I mean, all day long. But I'm going to fight for your fat ass to have health care and to have access to good things, because I don't believe in suffering in the richest country on the planet. And I thought that was a really, really good point. So I don't know. I mean, we have AIPAC Shakur. We're just going to have to keep pushing him. I think he is going to get primaried, and I think it'll be good for him. And he'll either win or he'll get his ass beat, and it'll be interesting to see where it goes. Okay, two more. Had it or hit it, Bubba Gate.
Oh, Bubba Gate. Oh, I'll hit that all day. That's amazing, because whatever the explanation is, it opened up the door for us to speculate like crazy, which is glorious. We're talking about Trump blowing Bill Clinton. We're talking about Trump blowing a horse. We're talking about Trump blowing some other random guy named Bubba. Like, what's to not like?
I love it so much. I've always loved a gay Republican scandal. I mean, back in the day, from Larry Craig going to the airport, that conservative senator that did the tapping, to the stall next door because he wanted to go eat ass and then go to Washington the next day and do all this, family values bullshit. So
Mark Foley, I think. Was that Mark Foley? That may have been Mark Foley.
Larry Craig.
Well, Larry Craig. Mark Foley, I think he's another gay Republican or Christian.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And so I love this so much because I had long felt like Donald Trump presented like an old queen. And I have excellent gaydar. And then Trump 2.0, he comes in and you start seeing the decorating projects, the music, you saw what happened after he met Zoran, which clearly there's a pattern. This man likes dark-skinned men. We saw how he was with the Prince of Saudi. I hadn't seen him that happy. He's never that happy around Elon. God knows JD Vance isn't his taste. This man, this old queen president of ours, doesn't really attracted to Caucasians. I mean, you see him get very excited around brown-skinned people, with it culminating with the just absolute crush on Zoran. And then the next day he did a little makeover. And he had this little scarf on, like he was going to the gay bar that night and his hair was a little bit poofier. I'm telling you, this man likes brown-skinned men.
He also, have you seen those clips of him, the compilations where he's talking about, they got this big, strong, beautiful guy. Have you seen this man? Big, broad shoulders, straight out of Central Casting, good looking guy. Look at this guy. I'll kiss all you and even that guy. There's all these amazing clips of him just riffing and letting the truth come out from time to time. So I am totally there. I'm going bi. I think Trump is bi. That's my guess.
You're going bi. You see, I think that it's, I don't know. I mean, I could go by, but I definitely for sure think that he likes men. And the whole MAGA movement, I think there is just so much DL homosexuality in it. All the photoshopped pictures. I think even the broadcasting space, these men have other men on. They're happiest in homosocial settings. Like the whole entire, those, I'm going to be a big boy boot camp. Have you ever gone down the rabbit hole on those where if they go to alpha male boot camps, it's all gay. They do all this wrestling. Gay. It's so homoerotic. I think the whole movement, and I just think there's a lot of DL demon queens in the MAGA movement. You've got JD Vance. You have the out of the closet DL demon queen, Scott Bessent. I think, who are the others that I'm always? The speaker. Moses Mike Grinder Johnson is the biggest queen on the planet. Yeah.
Marco Rubio in the bubble bath. Remember that?
Marco Rubio. Yeah. There's a lot of them. And I just think there's a lot of I think a lot of the MAGA hypersexuality stuff my theory is a lot of straight men have watched porn and then they see a hard penis and that was the moment where they got excited. And instead of just going,
they like it.
That was kind of fun. Then they think, oh my God, I'm gay. And maybe they're not. Maybe they just liked in that exact moment a penis because it's not so binary. And then we have to go through all of this suffering because these people refuse to go to therapy.
No, you made a great point about the hyper masculinization thing where you'll see these podcasts and they'll be in an all wood room and they'll have a fucking camo hat on and they got this big phallic cigar that they're puffing on and and they're all on steroids, by the way, just like RFK. He's 70 fucking years old. That's why he's talking about felching, because he's 70 years old and he's on steroids. And so he's horny. The Kennedys already have a high libido and then he added steroids on top of it. So he's going to be fucking until he's in the grave, basically. But you see these guys and between the steroids and the cigars and the camo and then we're going on hunting trips and we're going to fucking man you up and come to our boot camp, it all just screams gay. It just screams gay. It's the overcompensation thing, right? It's the same reason there were studies that said the people who are very vocally anti-gay they did a study where they attached electrodes to their dick and they got hard when they watched gay porn. So they're gay and they internalize the shame from a very Christian culture. And that's how they that's how they try to protect themselves, to be like, oh, that's disgusting, that's gross. The overcompensation thing, I wonder when the world is going to catch on to that, and when these guys are going to realize you look more suspect that way, bro. Because you look at a guy like me, I got fucking bleached blonde hair. I'm wearing makeup right this second. And every time I do a show, I'm wearing makeup. And I'm the straightest motherfucker on the planet, right? Yeah. And so they got to break free of this mindset that, like, if I'm jacked and I got the camo and the cigar and everything, then I seem really straight. It's like, actually, no, that's when the gaydar starts going a little bit.
Well, because I think they're projecting what they think straight men want and what straight men like, where straight men, you know, like, are not just this one stereotype. And that's just like a real red flag to me. But I think that's just a whole problem with this. And you pegged it when you link it to the Christianity and the shame surrounding all of that, because I just think we got a bunch of queens. And I just think, I mean, Donald Trump, I think, okay, you know, old people in your lives, Kyle, right? As they start to die, they start talking a lot. Loose lips sink ships. And so you'll have like a parent that will be like, you were always my favorite child, or I never liked you, right? I think we're about a year away from, and Trump will never not be on camera. That motherfucker has to be on camera all the time. Somebody's going to get him in an interview on a podcast, and he is going to say, you know what? That love affair I had with Bubba, and he gave the best blowjob. Boy, that son of a bitch could suck the chrome off of a tailpipe, I tell you. And I think it's going to be one of the more glorious days for America, because then we can use that to say, MAGA, we're so happy to know that you're not anti-gay. You worshiped this man, this old queen. All the signs were there all the time. He's blaring Phantom of the Opera. Come on.
Better looking than Tom Cruise. He says that all the time. Guys, better looking than Tom Cruise.
Maybe I'll make the revelation on I've Had It podcast. Maybe.
I would love it. I would live for it.
That'd be amazing.
And remember when he was on the campaign trail, he gave that microphone a blowjob with, I mean, a familiarity. There was a familiarity to the technique that cannot be discounted. Okay, last one.
And one more thing. Hold on. He talked about Arnold Palmer's cock. I can't not bring that
up. So excited about it. He was as excited talking about the cock as he was staring up at Zoran.
It was a whole story. It was a story. He spoke for 5 minutes where the punchline was Arnold Palmer's dick.
Yeah, he was excited about it too. He was excited. Okay, last one. Had it or hit it, the United States of America.
This one's a tough one. And I heard you ask, I think it was Hassan Piker or maybe Emma Vigland, this question. And me and Crystal were listening to the podcast when picking up the kids. And we actually were discussing it a little bit. And she said she'd hit it. I got to be honest with you. I've had it at this point. And the reason I say that is because I've never, ever, 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 ever seen a situation where we went this low. I mean, Trump opened up concentration camps. He had Alligator Auschwitz sending people to CCOT, where, by the way, people were raped at CCOT. And there's detailed reporting on that. You also have, like we talked about before, the warmongering, trying to overthrow Venezuela, bombing Iran, doing a fake peace agreement in Gaza as Palestinians continue to get murdered on a daily basis. The stupid trade war, which is just absolutely jacking up prices. Unemployment's going up. The billionaires taking over the country. You got all these horrible things. And I never thought in my wildest dreams it could get this bad. So I'm very disgusted with our political system, but also a little disgusted too with sort of the passivity of the public. So in this moment, I'd say I've had it, but that's all the more reason. Like, I don't want to say that and it to be like a negative thing. That's all the more reason to try to fight to get back to a place where I'd hit it. Like, that's my reaction to that, is we got to do everything we can to get it back on track. So I'd say I'd hit it then. But in this moment, no, there's no hitting anything.
Well, Kyle, I think that's a very, very honest answer that's sort of reflective of the way a lot of us feel, is that if we're going to be honest about the state of affairs with our country, and it's, again, there's so many things that happen in one day that like if I wanted to not go practice law and sit and read all this stuff, it would take hours to process and digest. But most people have to go to their day job, what they do every day, and focus on working, getting a paycheck, picking up your kids, doing the very basic things my fear is that we don't have enough time in the day to process what's real and what's not real, and that we're desensitizing people to where they just don't care. And there's nothing worse than apathy when people just don't care. That's when the wheels start to fall off. I will say this, 2028, Jennifer, Kyle, let's do it. Okay, that's my
Oh
vote.
my God.
I'm going to
Yeah.
put you
Jennifer,
I'll put you
I
at
would
the
knock
top
on
of the
every door in
ticket.
America for you. I hope you know that, right? I want you to be our president so bad.
Thank you. Thank you. I told Josh I would rather earn my money on my back than be a politician because at least everybody would know exactly what I was, you know. But I appreciate that. I think that I'm best partnering and allying with all of these voices like yours and building a giant pro-democracy echo chamber because we're 10 years behind. And I think we're actually starting to get a lot of traction in building this new media. And I thank you so much. You know, I love you and Crystal so much. Listener, we went on a double date, the four of us. Crystal
True.
Ball, Kyle's wife, Josh and I, we went to the U.S. Open together and we had the best day.
Right. It was awesome. And we're giant fans of you guys as well. So keep up the awesome work.
Tell your wife hi for us, okay? For me.
Will do. Will do. Thanks for having me, guys.
All right. Thanks, Kyle. Bye-bye. Kyle's cool. I like him.
Smart.
He's very smart.
Smart.
He has a great YouTube channel. And what people like about Kyle is he speaks very factually and to the point, and we just need more of that. And I love he and Crystal. He's very smart. All right, listener, we will see you next Tuesday and Thursday.
I'll tell you what I've had it with. Let's hear it. I've had it with that.
Listen up, patriots, gaytriots, and natriots. We have a new podcast that has dropped. It's called iHip News. It's Monday through Friday, every day, 15 to 20-minute hot takes on the political landscape of the United States of America, always served with a side of petty grievances.
We are on all the available platforms, Apple, Spotify, Google, whatever you get your podcasts, and YouTube.
Please go rate, subscribe, and review so that we will chart upwards with America's greatest legal mind. Pumps, what does an eagle say?
Caw-caw!
A little bit more enthusiasm.
Caw-caw!
That's it. That's
Caw-caw!
That's the patriotism that this country needs right there.